Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. You're all welcome to our afternoon session. Please may I know from the chat, you can use the chat, whether you are hearing anything, any feedback. If you can hear, just say yes. All right. Thank you very much. So before we start off, we have I have here two things for you to do for me. How did you know about this webinar? You can just choose from it. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, DAAD page. And then where are you connecting from? It's just a quick overview to see how you got to know and where you're connecting from. So you can just click, how did you know about this webinar, whether Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, our website, or Google search, or a friend. So can you answer these questions for me? And then where you're connecting from. All right. Thank you very much. So again, welcome. My name is Felix. We are joined by our director, Mrs. Lina Loima. So she'll be taking us through the session. But before that, I just want to explain again that to make comments, perhaps you're not hearing anything or technical difficulties, use the chat. And then for all your questions on the presentation, use the question pod, which is all shown. If you have a mobile device, this is how it will be looking like. The comment and then the question and answer pod. So that's how you communicate with us. Yeah. If you're using a PC, this will be your layout, and this is where you see your question pod and then your chat box. So that's how you communicate with us. I hope you are seeing the screen. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining, and I now hand over to Mrs. Lina Loima to take us through the presentation. Welcome again.
Good afternoon. I see that, well, welcome to everybody who's here already. I see we are only 6 participants so far. So to wait a few minutes, but also to find out a little bit more about you, could you please in the chat quickly type your level of degree that you are looking for, so the information that you are mostly looking for to study in Germany. So for example, if you are now in school, you want to do bachelor, you type bachelor or undergraduate, and if you are already an undergraduate and you're looking for master opportunities, you type master or PhD. So if you could do that, that would help a lot. So I can, because we're just a small number of participants so far, so I also know what to focus on a little bit more and what I can leave out. So if you could just kindly type your level, the level of education you are looking for, and that you are looking for information about, then I'll focus a little bit more on that. Okay, I see master and master. I think that's not so unusual, so we will focus a little bit more on that. And if you could also put, if you already know which study area you're looking for, maybe you could also type that into the chat. See, some people are typing. Okay, so I see that there's already interest in a specific study program. That is good. I note that down. So the Hammersmith program is one program I will give you a bit more details about. As for the others, okay, economics. So I see some things are coming up. So renewable energy. Okay, so we keep that in mind when we do the presentation. Regardless, I will start now. We're starting in German time, more or less. We won't wait for all the other participants to join us, and then I hope that they will still be able to catch up with the information. So roughly these are the contents that I will talk about. Facts about Germany. This is just to give you a little bit of background information. I'll talk a little bit about the DAAD and our work, so just that you understand what we are all about if you have not been in touch with us before so much. And then the main part will be about studying in Germany in general, and then the last part will be scholarship offers by the DAAD and other places to look for. Okay, there's some more subjects coming up, microbiology and civil engineering. That's also good to know. So I will start with some small facts about Germany, and I hope that some of them could still surprise you. For example, the fact that Germany has the highest population in the EU, and it's the second most popular country for immigrants, and the density of universities in Germany is very high. Also, Germany is the third most popular destination for international students worldwide. Most international students at this point are from China, India, and Russia, but we can see from the statistics, and that is particularly after the last few years, sort of the interest in the UK and the US as study destinations is falling a little bit, and Germany is one of those countries that are seeing higher numbers of international students. During the COVID crisis, actually, it seems that the way Germany has handled the situation has also encouraged even more people to be interested in studying in Germany. And last but not least, Germany is the third important holder of patents and the third important country in regard of science and research worldwide. This is also an interesting thing to keep in mind. Sorry, there's a fly in my room. This will be an interesting presentation. And that means that in Germany, there is quite strong links between the university or the higher education and industry. So in research and development, there is a lot of reinvestment from the industry side, in particular. The advantages of studying in Germany are, maybe some of them you're already aware of, but some might also be new to you. There is excellent research and teaching in a very wide variety of subjects. And if you don't know yet, you can actually study most subjects in English, or at least partly in English as a language of instruction. So that is a good news. If you are scared that you have to learn German perfectly before you can go and study, that is not the case. Most international students do not study in German, but rather in English. One of the very large pros for many students to go to Germany is that the costs of living are not too high, and then even more, the tuition fees at many universities, and then especially at very good prestige universities, are very moderate or actually free. In Germany, there's something called Verwaltungsgebühren. It's like an administration fee that you pay, which would be maybe 300, 400, depending on the university, euros per semester, but that actually covers your ticket for transportation. So you have a free ticket to go with all public transport for the whole semester, and also it's a subsidy for your food. There is something called Mensa, which is like a feeding, like a restaurant for students, and it's quite cheap, and that's also because it's subsidized, and that comes from that money. There are universities that do take fees, but I would always recommend especially those universities that take study fees or tuition fees, are those that do a lot more advertising, obviously, because they are interested in having more international students who are willing to pay. But I also recommend that you really dive in and do your own research to find out if maybe there is a state university that could offer you course or similar costs at a similar quality, or even a higher quality for low or very low tuition fees or no tuition. Last but not least, first-class services for international students. There is international offices at every university, and more the German universities are also focused on their international students. Still, you should keep in mind that as the universities are not for fees, so they are not commercial in that way. There could be a bit less handholding. From what alumni report back to us, you have to get used to doing your own research and finding your own solutions, finding out where you have to go to find certain things and make sure that everything goes smoothly. So a little bit less handholding. Living expenses, we put this here. This is just a very, very rough average, because in Germany, depending on the university you go to or the city that you go to, it could be very different. But this is like a rough average of the living expenses. And it adds up to a total of 720 euros. This is just an average that we did. So this is not like an official count or something. It's just something to help you get a first idea. Like I said, or like I didn't say what I'm saying now, for example, if you go to a city like Munich, or many of the very big cities in Germany are very popular student destinations and can be a bit more pricey, looking at housing, for example. And then if you look at it might be worth your while to look into smaller cities and that maybe have smaller universities but are specialized in a certain area, and it could also be a lot less costly to go and study there. Some quick information about the DAD, Deutscher Akademischer Austauschdienst, or German Academic Exchange Service. We promote academic exchange and cooperation by providing information and funding. And in general, the DAD has 3 areas of support. This is scholarships, what you probably know about. And the second thing is higher education cooperation. And I'm also mentioning this here because maybe at some point later in your career, you might be interested in staying in touch with your German host university, or in general with a German scientist or a German university. And in this case, there's also a lot of funding opportunities from the DAD for cooperations between universities. For example, if you go and study at the University of Göttingen and you come back and you go back to University of Ghana as maybe a lecturer or a PhD student, it would always be good to stay in touch with your German colleagues back there, and maybe you would be able to help establish some kind of cooperation program or project. The third area is knowledge management. So basically what we are doing here. So the DAD is not a government organization. We are actually an NGO, or we are the Association of German Universities. And there's a worldwide network of regional offices, information centers, and the DAD lecturers. In Ghana, we are lucky because it's the only country in West Africa where we have an information center. So you can always be in touch with us and ask us all kinds of questions, me and my colleagues who you probably have been in touch with already. We're always willing to help you. All our services are for free. So generally, I say if somebody is offering to get you into a university or get you a scholarship and you should be paying for that kind of service, you shouldn't trust those people, and you better be in touch with us because we represent the German universities and we have no financial interests of our own. The DAD supports over 130,000 German and international students and researchers each year. I think the number is even higher by now. So it's the world's largest funding organization of its kind, actually. Okay, I will go and move away from the DAD. If you have more questions about the DAD, you're always welcome to ask them. And go into the German higher education institutions. The system is quite similar to the Ghanaian system. Of course, there are the universities and there are technical universities. The technical universities actually in Ghana have been modeled after the German model. So you already maybe have a first idea what a German technical university could look like. Although you have to say that in Germany, the technical universities really are a hybrid between vocational training and the university research. it's really a category of its own. So also, if you're looking to study a certain subject, what am I saying here? For example, mechanical engineering, I will absolutely advise that you go and look for a technical university, because the technical universities in Germany have the strongest expertise in that area. They have strong links to the industry side, and they really focus more on the practical aspects and not so much on the theoretical research aspect as the universities do. So like I said before, it's always good to do your own research and find out also which institution and which study course is perfect for what you want to achieve and also what you are looking for in your studies. I also mentioned the universities of applied sciences. These are also very, there's a lot of them in Germany as well. They also in particular have even more of a practical focus and then very close ties to the public sector. As you know, in Germany, there's certain areas, for example, the south of Germany, where you have a lot of automotive industry, where most of the technical universities and universities of applied sciences work very closely with the local industry, and especially for engineering and business administration. Also for design, for example, or industry design, those are very, very good universities to go to. Of course, there are no PhDs at those, or not of course, but there's no PhD opportunities, but I think we are all looking for masters, so that doesn't really matter in this case. The arts and music colleges, I leave that out also in this case because I didn't see anybody who mentioned that the subject. They're a bit more specific and also a bit more specific to get into. If you're looking at degree programs in Germany, it's also quite similar to Ghana, actually. You have a bachelor degree programs of 3 to 4 years, and then master degree programs of 1 to 2 years. All of those you can study at all of the higher education institutions that I mentioned, so universities, technical universities, universities of applied sciences. And then you have the PhD. For PhDs, I go into a little bit more detail later. Please, again, to everyone, if anyone is in the chat who's interested in doing their PhD, please mention it in the chat. Otherwise, I will not go into too much detail because by the time you do your PhD, you would have forgotten about it anyways. So the PhD is 3 to 4 years, depending also if you are doing a structured PhD program or if you are just doing an individual PhD. Of course, then it can take longer, depending on if you're doing it full time, etc. As a first point of reference, if you are looking for a study program in Germany, I recommend that you go to the www.daad.de/international-programs. That website has links to all the different study programs that are conducted partly or entirely in English, so you can just drop-down menu, select what you want to study, and find out at which university you can study something along those lines, and can get some maybe some inspiration which universities or which higher education institutions to look at, because it might not be the most or the first idea that somebody would have. That it's not like in Ghana, where you would always probably first think that University of Ghana is a good place to go to. In the case of Germany, there's not really one university or a few universities that are sort of the biggest. It's such a diverse landscape that it's always good to have a look at all the programs that are, of course, in English, unless you want to learn German before. Leave it at that. To find out more about the admission requirements, there is an ANABIN. This is a website that gives you information on the recognition of your degree at certain German universities and for certain study programs. The ANABIN website, I am not sure, but I think it is still only available in German. So we recommend that to find out if your particular degree with your grades does qualify you for a certain program at a certain university, you can go through that search engine together with us or one of my colleagues. In general, the admission requirements are sufficient knowledge of the language that the course is being conducted in. So probably English or German. And then it really depends on the university and on the study program. So some have additional requirements like a GRE, like TestAS. TestAS is an aptitude test, a German aptitude test. Some are asking for professional experience and so on. Some are just asking maybe for letters of recommendation and a motivation letter. So again, you have to do your own research there to find out what your university or your study course, study program is looking for. For postgraduate, but I think for undergraduate, sorry, okay, someone is interested in doing a PhD. That is good to know. Nobody so far mentioned that they want to do bachelors, but anyways, I will cover undergraduate sort of on the go as well. General, if you are applying for any study program in Germany, there's two ways, or at least for under and postgraduate, there's two ways. The one is to apply directly at the university, and the other way is to apply centrally via the so-called UniAssist website. The charges are here on the slide. So there is a charge for citizens of countries outside the EU, which is 75 euros. And then if you're adding more applications, so not just one course, not just one university, but more universities, it is an extra 30 euros for every additional university. Which way is the correct way to apply? That again depends on the study course and the university you are choosing. So many times I said before, you have to do your research there. The application dates for winter semester are by 15th of July, and then the application for summer semester is latest by 15th January. That is for the UniAssist. Again, for the individual universities, the application deadlines might differ, so you have to follow up on that yourself. The admission requirements for undergraduates from Ghana, unfortunately, there is no direct entry into German universities for the WASI graduates. So the West African School Leaving Certificate does unfortunately not qualify you directly, but there are two ways to get into undergraduate program anyways. The one is that you do 2 semesters at a so-called Studienkolleg, which is a prep course, and then pass the so-called Feststellungsprüfung, which is a test you do at the end of an assessment exam that you do at the end of the 2 semesters to make sure that you have reached the level that you need to enter into the bachelor's program in Germany. As most German programs are only 3 years, if you add the extra year that you need for the Studienkolleg, you actually end up at a similar time span for a bachelor degree that you would have in Ghana anyways, or in many other countries as well. So it's not as much of a disadvantage as it seems. At the same time, at this point, most of the Studienkolleg, so of the prep courses, are still conducted in German. So unless you're already learning some German, you would probably have to start learning German before so that you can be able to follow the prep course. There are some few in English, and they're becoming more because it's also becoming obvious to the German universities, but at this point in time, most are still in German. The other option is that you have 1 year of previous studies at another university. So for example, in Ghana, if you study 2 semesters at a Ghanaian university in a similar subject, that also qualifies you for, or that could qualify you if you choose the right courses. And this procedure you should probably discuss also with us before to make sure that you that everything is working out well. But that is the other option. If you're talking about the Studienkolleg, the prep course, then there's specific courses for specific programs. So for example, for medicine and engineering, there's specific courses. These courses, by the way, are actually quite good. So the content that or the skills that you learn there really also do help you to start the bachelor's, because from experience, many of the Ghanaian schools and the school leaving certificates did not fully equip everybody with the skills they need to do the bachelor studies in Germany, although of course it's not impossible. For postgraduate students, the admission requirements are quite straightforward. So for postgraduate degrees, master degrees mostly, you need a bachelor's degree in a relevant field. The HND qualification, unfortunately, does not give you direct entry to a master's degree program, as it's more of a vocational degree, but it gives you direct entry to, or can give you direct entry to a first degree program at University of Applied Sciences, as that coincides with a vocational focus or the practical focus. Some HND degrees in a similar field give you direct entry into a bachelor's program at University of Applied Sciences, so you might not have to do the prep course. If you need to learn German for your university program, if it's in German, there is the opportunity to do that in Accra at the Goethe Institute, and also to have your test stuff there. The test stuff, as I mentioned, I didn't mention, the test stuff is a German proficiency test that you need for some universities if you are studying in German. And there's some other opportunities to learn German through the links that I mentioned here, Deutsch Uni Online and the Deutsche Welle, so DW World. If you do not have to learn German for university, then we still recommend that you learn a little bit of German before you go, because it just really helps with daily life in Germany. A lot of Germans speak English quite well, but still it's not always guaranteed, and also of course it helps you to partake in daily social life and interactions. Learn some small German. So it's like if I come to Ghana and I can speak a little bit of Twi, it will be also of help. These are the course structures of the Goethe Institute in Accra. So basic users is A1 and A2, and independent users B1, B2, and then proficient users C1. It's quite unlikely that you're going to have to go up to the level of C1, so I think that for most of you, only the basic user level will be relevant. We are mentioning the Goethe Institute course structures and course fees. If you are further interested in that, the easiest way is to contact the Goethe Institute directly through www.goethe.de/Ghana. You can also call them and find out more. But the next courses are starting from 14th September. The class will be online. So obviously in the current situation, the school has not reopened yet. And they are still waiting to reopen the classes. In the meantime, the classes are fully conducted online, but the Goethe has a good system of teaching online, and should be, from what I've heard, should be really easy to follow the courses online as well. As somebody mentioned PhD, I will just quickly go into it as well. In Germany in general, there's a lot of different opportunities to do your PhDs. So the hardest part is to find the right way to do it and to find the right person to do it with. So there is so many opportunities to do it at universities, but also outside of universities. There is the International Max Planck Research Schools, for example. So there is a lot of research institutions that you have to, or you should do a little bit of research on. We're giving you some hints on where to start. If you want to do a PhD with an individual supervisor, doctoral father or doctoral mother, that normally requires some research on your side first, because you have to find, unless you already have links to a German university or a German professor, maybe through your own professor here in Ghana or other colleagues, we always recommend that you prepare a little bit for some for some research to find the right person, and then target them directly. You can start with browsing the German Online Research Directory called, or the website is Gerit, GERIT.org, and this one has a listing of all the German university and non-university research institutions, so it's a good starting point. And then also on the DAAD PhD Germany platform, you find a list of vacant PhD positions. So some universities put their vacant PhD positions out there for people to see and apply for it. But then, of course, not all vacant PhD positions are there. There's a lot of professors that receive a lot of emails from all over the world asking to become supervised by them. And in this case, I really recommend that you get in touch with us and get some more information on how to do it. Mr. Seth, if you are interested in doing a PhD and finding a supervisor, there will be, I just saw it in my email that there will be a webinar specifically on that topic that is being conducted by the DAAD Africa office in Nairobi, and I recommend that you send us an email and send us an email, and we will forward you the link, or probably you're also going to find it in our social media, so that you can also follow up on that and get some more detailed information on how best to find a PhD supervisor. The other option is PhD programs. So structured PhD programs, again, that is similar to Ghana. You can do it individually or in a structured program. And if you're looking for international PhD programs, the best place to start your search is on the DAAD website /international programs again. So this is also where you find the structured PhD program. So these are 3 to 4 year programs, and the supervisor will be provided. But here also the selection process can be quite competitive. So unless you are a very good match, I also recommend that thinking about if none of the programs really matches what you want to do, that you find the right person that is the perfect match for what you really want to do. Student visa requirements, and this is relevant for everybody, PhD or master or bachelors, obviously, or even researchers. You need a proof of sufficient financial resources for living in Germany for 1 year. Even if you're staying longer, the first year you have to kind of prove that you can cover it. This is not to harass or bully students, but it's to make sure that when you are in Germany, you actually have sufficient funds to be able to concentrate on your studies. I think it's from experience, because working full-time and studying so successfully is just not possible. And that is why the embassy's rules are like that. Just a disclaimer, we are giving you information on the regulations of the embassy, and we also really support you with the process. So if you want to go and study, we are happy to help you and support you in the process. Make sure that the documents are in order. Please rather come too early than too late and talk through your documents with us, because we have the experience with what you need to concentrate on and what you need to check on. But in the end, it's the German embassy or the visa section of the German embassy that makes the decisions on who gets the visa or not. So we are just trying to help you to make sure that everything is in order, and then it should be quite a straightforward procedure. Apart from the proof of sufficient financial resources, you also need a letter of admission. As I mentioned before, you do have the opportunity to work some days while you're studying. In fact, 120 days a year, you are allowed to work with a student visa. And like I said, that's basically to make sure that you can really focus on your studies and don't get sucked into that system of working and trying to study at the same time. The application process works like this. You need the admission letter, you need the proof of sufficient financial support, like I mentioned. If you have a scholarship, you can present your scholarship award letter instead. And then, like I said before, you should come to our office or discuss with us on the phone, or probably better actually come to the office. In this case, Corona time, so maybe you can have an individual consultations through our webinar app. But you should definitely make sure that we have a look at your documents as well. And also, when you're preparing for the interview, we can also help you for that, because we know what questions are being asked and why they're being asked. So, for example, the fact that you should have some information about your host university and about the program and are prepared to explain why you want to go there and what you want to study. I think that will be quite straightforward. See, Felix just added, or one of my colleagues just added the information that, of course, there will also be a PhD proposal writing workshops in Accra and Kumasi. So please, Mr. Seth, that would also obviously be even more straightforward. I forgot about it for a second, because although it's also coming up very soon. So if you go to that link, you can also apply to be a participant in the proposal writing workshops. Okay, so now I'm going to scholarships. As you can see, there's a few scholarship holders that left for Germany. Actually, is an old picture. Probably we should take some new pictures, because I'm not even in that picture, but doesn't matter. In 2018, I'm just using those numbers. 765 Ghanaians and 174 Germans were funded to go to Ghana or go to Germany, but also, as you might find out, to go to some other countries, which is what I will tell you more about in a bit. Looking at the master's programs, EPOS and Hammersmith Program, I'll go into those two. Hammersmith was already requested, so I'll mention some more details about that. Then the in-country and region scholarships. This is a specific program for Africa. And then the PhD grants are a few more, and I go into more detail about them as well. First master study program I want to mention is EPOS, Development-Related Postgraduate Courses. In German it's called Entwicklungsbezogene Postgraduierten-Studiengänge, and this is why it's called EPOS. These are scholarships for professionals from the Global South, and it is not it's not a scholarship program for just any course. So it's not like you come with an admission for a certain university and then you apply for the scholarship, but you apply for admission to pre-selected courses that come with the scholarship. If you are selected by that university or by that institution, they also can decide to give you one of the scholarships that the DAAD has awarded to them. So the DAAD website, you will find the links to all the different programs that are being offered. To give you an idea, I think there's about 40, or there's over 40 sponsored courses in different fields, from development management to renewable energy, public health, and so on. So there's quite a wide variety of subjects, but they're always somehow development related. Requirements are relevant bachelor's degree, second upper or above, and then relevant professional experience of 2 years. The national service counts towards those 2 years. Your most recent academic degree should not be older than 6 years. That has replaced the age limit. So if you are, it's always good to kind of move on with your application quite soon. And then the applications are not sent through the DAAD in the first place, but they are sent through the university. So the application procedures and also the application deadlines depend on the university that you are going for. So when you go to our website, for example, the DAAD Ghana website, and look for master funding, then you find the EPOS program, you will find a list of the different funded study programs, and then you can click on whichever program you're interested in and follow that link to find out more. The Hammersmith program is similar in the requirements. You also need a relevant bachelor's degree of second upper or above, and you need your most recent academic degree should not be older than 6 years. And again, here it's also the courses, the pre-selected courses that define the specific requirements, application requirements. And the applications are also going directly to the universities and not to the DAAD first. The deadline for those programs is all the same. It's the 31st of July. And the focus is a little bit different. It's not the variety of different development-related subjects, but it's a focus on public policy and good governance in politics, law, economics, and administration. So here again, you go to the DAAD Ghana website and find the link to master funding, and then find this program, and then you see a list of the programs that are funded, and you select the one that matches your interest best, and then follow the link and go through their own procedures. The In-Country and Region Scholarships is a program that is specific to Africa from the DAAD side, and it's a training program that is trying to help establish research hubs in sub-Saharan Africa. So again, this is pre-selected receiving institutions for students that have a certain number of scholarships. And the selected research centers in Ghana are University of Ghana Population Studies, KNUST Department of Planning, Center for Crop Improvement, also University of Ghana, and then Public Health at UDS, Mechanical Engineering at KNUST was also selected. So I suggest, just to make sure, this is the target group for this is either Ghanaians who want to study in Ghana, so this will be in country, or in region. So there's other students coming from other African countries to study in Ghana. Also, there is the opportunity for Ghanaians to go to other African countries. If, for example, your subject area is not covered in Ghana, you have the opportunity to have a look at the DAAD's website. It's been sliding down a little bit, but if you see at the bottom, the funding guide website, which is a good starting point to look for funding anyways, www.funding-guide.de, and then you search for in-region, you find all the different Africa-wide receiving institutions. And for example, oh wait, I moved too fast. Yeah, so I really recommend that you also think about applying in other sub-Saharan countries. There's some very interesting study programs in other African countries. For example, if you're in mathematics, you can go to AIMS in South Africa, and so on and so on. So I also recommend to go through the effort and have a look at those programs as well. It's masters, but also some universities have PhD scholarships as well. Okay, we're moving on to the PhD level. There's different schemes for the research grants. The regular PhD research grant, the most popular one, where you go to Germany, do your 3.5 years of PhD training, do your research, finalize your thesis, and then come back. So you come back with a PhD from a German university. Then there's also structured programs. So this is not with an individual supervisor, but through one of the structured international PhD programs. And then there's also a so-called sandwich scheme, which is a binationally supervised PhD. So you do part of your training and research in Germany, part of it in your home country, and part of it in Germany. The requirements are a bachelor's degree, second upper above, and master's degree above average. And the most important part, you need to have a comprehensive research proposal and established contact with German supervisor. Best if that supervisor has already agreed to supervise you. That will give you the best chances to get the scholarship, especially if his letter of acceptance letter is as enthusiastic as possible. Again, here the most recent academic degree. So in this case, the master's degree should not be older than 6 years by the time of application. And the deadline for this is 31st of October. So our proposal writing workshop comes just in time. The DAAD Graduate School Scholarship Program, I think I mentioned this just briefly. It's also just a simple, the typical PhD funding, so a 3.5-year funding. But the way to find or get admission to that program is a little bit different. So you go to the www.daad-ghana.org website, so our own website of the DAAD Ghana. Go to find funding and PhD level, and then you find all the different programs that are a part of this it's kind of similar. You just click on the link to that program that has been pre-selected for the scholarships, and then you follow the application with that specific university. Research stays, I think right now we don't really have a lot of you who are on that level. This is for university teachers and established academics. However, please keep it in mind at maybe a later stage of your career that there is quite a good chance to get a research stay funding if you want to go back to Germany, or even if you have not gone to Germany before and you want to go later. If you have a professor at your home university right now that you know is interested in working with somebody in Germany and wants to go there, this is a good way to apply. The deadlines are 1st October and 1st April, and we don't really have so many applications for these programs, so there's a high chance of receiving funding. There's further DAAD scholarships, and I recommend that you go to the funding guide website that I already mentioned. It's again mentioned here at the bottom, fundingguide.de, and find a full list of all DAAD scholarships. Climb Up Africa University summer courses. This is to advance your German language skills. Study visits, traineeships, and there's a large variety. And the list is not only of DAAD funded scholarships. So if there's no scholarship that matches your field or your profile from the DAAD side, there might be something from another German funded organization. They're all coming together on that funding guide website. Yes, this is what I just said. And yeah, further funding opportunities. I think if you do not qualify, or if none of the scholarship funds, scholarship schemes by the DAAD match your interest and your profile, you should look into seeing if you can study on a self-sponsored basis, for example, with a sponsor. And then also check for Ghanaian funding opportunities. We also had students before were able to get funding through the GET Fund, for example. And also check if there's any part-time scholarships offered at your German host university. So do some more research and try to find something that fits your personal profile. Alumni programs, I'm just going to quickly mention that when you go to Germany as a DAAD alumni, there is quite a large number of programs to also support you after your return. So you can apply for support through the CIM, Center for International Migration. This is a returning expert program. And then also join the alumni community in Ghana. There's a DAAD alumni network that is active, organizing workshops. The workshops are also, you can also apply for funding for a workshop from the DAAD side to meet with other alumni. There's also funding for re-invitation programs, book donations, for expert seminars, for DAAD alumni as well. So once you have secured a scholarship and you're going, don't forget to stay in touch and keep an eye on the options that are there. And as for us, we always appreciate it when alumni stay in touch with other alumni and help us build and foster a network of German alumni or Germany alumni in Ghana, because this is what really helps you and other alumni to have a network that helps you find jobs, find research opportunities, open positions, and so on. Okay, getting to the end of my presentation, there is more information on so many different channels on our website, the DAAD Ghana website. Even if you have not grasped our own link, then you just Google DAAD Ghana and you find a lot more information than what I mentioned on funding opportunities, studying in Germany, and so on. And then if you want to watch more information, you can also go to our YouTube channel. So you go to YouTube and search for DAAD Ghana for more information on studying and research in Germany, but also more specific information. For example, on the prep courses, on medical studies, and also there we have recorded some webinars with German universities that we did last year. Although I'll come back to that in a minute. And then also on the other social media channels, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. Whenever you just look for DAAD Ghana, you will find us. So whatever your preferred social media channel is, I strongly recommend that you follow us, because then you will get all the updates and reminders for deadlines, application deadlines for events, for potential new scholarship programs that are coming up. Sometimes we have like raffles, or we have competitions where you can win DAAD branded merchandise, and so on and so on. So I really recommend that you follow us so you don't miss out on any opportunities. And last but not least, there is more online presentations by German universities coming up. So we'll have webinars with different German universities. As you can see, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 universities coming up in September. It's a 1-hour session where they present themselves and interact with you. All of those universities are universities of applied sciences. So especially for those of you who are, for example, interested in engineering or in design or in business administration, I would really recommend that you have a look. You see, Pforzheim, I think it's a small typo there. It's go through the Pforzheim with MBA programs, for example. So yeah, have a look into that and find out more about the specific universities' requirements, because as I said, they really differ from program to program and university to university. Yeah, that's it from my side. I'm sure there's some questions. So
yes, thank you so much. I hope my mic is on. Yes. Okay, so there's one question from a scholarship holder. So the program is starting in October, and is wondering how DAAD will help, the trip to Germany now that borders are closed. What are the options available?
Yes. Yeah, let me quickly answer that question. On our website, you also, or maybe we can also, can we link the different Corona information websites from the DAAD side, maybe?
Yes.
Like we did in our last newsletter.
You want to share that?
In our last newsletter, we had an article on the Corona update, so maybe we can do that. Okay, so in general, the situation as it is right now, for those who have secured their admission and have been working on visa, etc., the German embassy is open again for study visa, and normally studying or traveling to Germany is considered an essential reason to travel. So as you know, right now there is repatriation flights that are going from actually more or less every week. There is at least one flight going maybe from KLM or Brussels or whatever, where Germans, but also Ghanaians with a visa for Germany and an essential reason to travel can join those flights. And you will need a letter from your university stating that you cannot start your studies fully online. So I would recommend that you try and get that letter from your university. Also get in touch with us. We help you with the process. If your university says, no, we're not really starting our classes yet in face-to-face already, we are still mostly doing online, then you probably have to wait another month or two. I mean, none of us know when the flights will officially start again. We don't know when Ghana will reopen its borders officially, and we also don't know when the EU will reopen borders for all countries. So we also can't really say 100%, but I'm very grateful for the embassy opening this pathway. So if you have to go, for example, because it's a face-to-face classes and they're already starting, or if you're doing research there and you need a lab, that's you can definitely get that letter from your university, and it's considered essential travel, so you can go and get to your university.
All right, thank you very much. So that's another question. Yes. Are there opportunities for international students to work as graduate assistant or assistantships while studying in Germany? So working in the universities as assistant.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's a very popular sort of side job. Like whilst you are studying, there's a lot of students who try to secure. I mean, those are very competitive. It's normally just the best students, or if you have a good connection with a professor, that will get a job like this. Of course, when I was a student, I got a job like this. But this is, like I said, up to the level of 120 days per year, you can do that kind of work. And those, in Germany, we call it Hiwi. So it's a Hilfskraft, so like somebody who supports the institute in their work, or a professor in their work, is a typical.
All right. There's another one. I think it's about a Helmus scholarship. So over the past years, professional experience has been a strict requirement for Helmus program, but this year it seems to be optional. Does that suggest that one's chance without work experience? I don't know. I'm not seeing it too well, but whether it's really necessary having work experience for Helmus scholarship, and whether it counts in getting the scholarship.
I think, in general, okay, so the background of those programs, EPOS and the Helmut Schmidt, is that the DAAD, or actually the donors, or the BMZ, the German Ministry for Development Cooperation, they want to support professionals, so people who are already working, who are not necessarily working at universities, but also in the industry or at NGOs or so on, to give them a chance to further qualify, to then come back and apply those skills that they have learned in Germany to their jobs. I think, or I know that in the past, people were selected without having those 2 years of work experience. If they are excellent, if they have excellent grades, and if they have written a good motivational letter that points out why they are equipped to bring those skills back to their own home country in the best possible way, I think you should give it a try. I think really focus on the motivation letter, and really focus on presenting yourself and presenting why and how you'll be able to bring those skills back to your home country, even without having a job already. So, for example, even if you've been in a job for like a low amount of time, or not in the same field, but you can point out how you will make use of those skills when you are back, or make use of that degree when you are back, then I think you should give it a try. Even if it doesn't work this year, maybe you can keep on looking for work and having, even an internship and securing work experience, and then coming forward. And
I think bottom line is it can be an advantage.
I think you haven't lost any
work experience. Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely an advantage, but I wouldn't say it is. It's because also I think that, the DAAD also has realized that in some countries it's just not that easy to find a job. So to require that as a set requirement.
All right. I think that should be the end of our questions, because the last one is about office hours, which has already been answered, that we are offering face-to-face consultations. Okay, there's another one coming in. This is about, please, I would like to know if the German embassy has resumed processing of student visa. Maybe he was late.
Very late. I just mentioned that like 5 minutes ago. Or maybe the line was down, so I'm just going to repeat it again. Yes, they have resumed. You can book appointments for student visa again. And like I said, if you have a letter from your university stating that you are starting your studies in October, and it is essential that you are there in presence, that you should be there, and it's not possible to fully start online, then that also counts as a reason for essential travel. That also gives you the opportunity to leave the country.
All right. Yeah, then that should be the end of the questions. Supposing there are any questions, are there? Okay, so there are no more questions. Thank you very much. If you have any comments, also you can put it in our comments box here, and just answer the short, how do you call this, evaluation of this presentation. Thank you so much for being attentive listeners, and we hope you can take advantage of other events that are coming up. So you see, the month of September, we have a lot of events coming up, and we advise you to all link up Okay, someone is asking a question again. So Kingsley, if you can type out your question again. Let me allow this. So Kingsley, your microphone is open. You can ask your question. Or you can type it in the chat. All right, okay. All right.
Maybe it was by fault.
Yeah, then this will bring us to the end of our presentation. And thank you so much, our director, Lina Loimo. And it's been nice having all of you. We hope that you join other events coming up very soon. For the PhDs, again, let me remind that we are having this PhD proposal writing workshop in Kumasi and in Accra. In Accra will be 19th of August until 21st, but you attend only one of the days. So you have to register. The link was put up in the chat. I think we'll put it up again. So those of us who want to register can register. And the web session on how to find a PhD supervisor also, we put it in the chat. We will post the website of our events calendar so that you can check other events that are coming up. All right. So thank you again. I think we can go ahead to close the section in the next 5 minutes. So thank you and bye from us. Yes, and also our colleague Chris is also answering some of the questions over there. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Okay.